Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, we'll be talking about a storm that'll be upcoming later this week that could bring the threat for severe weather, including damaging winds, large hail, and even tornadoes to parts of the United States. On the flip side, this will also bring a large cool down to much of the country, and we'll also be talking about a lake effect snow event across parts of the Great Lakes and as well as the Northeast. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast, and let's begin with what's happening across the United States today. And we'll first begin with the Northeast and as well as the Midwest, and this is an area that has a lot of crazy stuff happening right now, even though it might not look like that on the infrared imagery. We actually have a low pressure system that is spinning back up here to the north of Michigan. It's well back up into Canada right now. One of the biggest things though with this is that we have a westerly wind across the Great Lakes, and what this is doing is actually causing lake effect snow. And it's that time of year where we do see a lot more lake effect snow, especially in the late fall and as well as in the early winter, where the water is much warmer than what it is in the air. So that's why we're actually seeing lake effect snow right now, and we're going to see the potential of upwards 2 to 3 feet of snow when this is all said and done in parts of western New York, while more minuscule amounts are expected across parts of western Michigan, and I'll show you more later on that in this forecast. Back down the southern plains, we do have some moisture starting to rise out of the south, and really overall nothing crazy here, and maybe a couple passing showers tonight across parts of central and southern Texas, but otherwise nothing that crazy there overall. And that's not really the prerequisite to what we're going to be seeing for that severe weather threat later this week. That'll actually be something different, and again, I'll show you that here in just a minute or two. Back over in the central and northern plains, pretty dry overall. It is definitely cooler with that cold front that just came through, that is pushed through, and we're not really seeing any precipitation there right now. And then back over in the Pacific Northwest, there is some activity here that's north of a ridge that is located over northern California. There's your ridge access, and this is all moisture basically up to the north of that. Again, nothing really too impactful as of right now. One thing I did want to point out is, if you remember, we had some snow across Kansas and Oklahoma on Saturday. Here's the satellite imagery, and why am I showing you this? Well, this shows us the snow that is currently on the ground. This is all snow right now that is still on the ground. All this activity up here, even back into Iowa and parts of the Midwest, all the circled areas basically, that is all snow that the satellite imagery is still picking up right now. And one of the things I wanted to point out is that it has melted substantially since yesterday. We saw a lot more snow across parts of northwest Oklahoma. That is almost all melted now, and by tomorrow I think most of that snow will be gone. Maybe by Wednesday for those that saw a lot more snow, and perhaps on the higher elevations by Thursday. That's kind of the timeline right now. Watches and warnings across the country, really not a whole lot ongoing. We do have lake effect snow warnings in effect. Those aren't popping up there in western New York, but otherwise we do have winter weather advisories, a couple of winter storm warnings as well across the Great Lakes region. Also, a freeze watch is in effect for northern Florida. That is a little bit early for this time of the year, but that is obviously something to watch out for if you're in northern Florida. It does not include Jacksonville, but just north of that, that is the area to watch for a freeze going into Wednesday morning. That'll be the time frame to watch for, but for now, they are freeze watches. Let's talk more about the weather pattern that'll be impacting the United States over the next week or so. And to look at that, we're going to look at the jet stream, and this is the upper level winds that we're looking at here, as well as the wind barbs. I do want to point out that this does lead into our risk of severe weather. So beginning with Monday, and that's today, we have a pretty strong jet stream across the mid-Atlantic. Here's your low pressure system north of Michigan, and then you have your ridge that's back over in the Pacific Northwest. That's keeping areas over there pretty dry and as well as a little bit warmer. As we go into Wednesday and Thursday, though, what we need to watch for is a trough that'll be coming off the Pacific Ocean into land by Wednesday night, and this will move over California and as well as Arizona. Here's Thursday evening. We're gonna have a trough that's gonna be located, and it's likely gonna be, by the way, negatively tilted, which can increase the risk of severe weather, by the way. But this trough in particular, by Thursday night, will be located over the southern plains, and where we're gonna be watching for severe weather will likely be in this area here. So parts of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, perhaps even Oklahoma will all be in that chance for some level of severe weather. Now, again, I'm not thinking we're gonna see a severe weather outbreak with the current setup that we have, but there will at least be some sort of marginal slight risk, maybe an enhanced risk of severe weather. It's going to really depend on the model guidance over the next several days and kind of seeing what the ingredients are for the severe weather setup. But once we go into Friday, that moves quickly off to the north and east. Notice it goes like beelining through Ohio Valley by Friday. So we're really going to be done with severe weather after Thursday night into Friday morning. That's out of here. By the time we get to Saturday into Sunday, we will have to watch for another trough that'll start to deepen a bit over parts of the Rocky Mountains by late Saturday into Sunday. With this one, this could also bring a pretty impactful cool down, maybe even an Arctic blast, as we get closer to Sunday into Monday of next week. But again, we are still several days out from now, so stay tuned. We'll keep posted with the latest on that situation. Here's the low-level jet, by the way. This gives us an idea of the rotation in the lower levels, and that kind of gives us an idea as well of the tornado risk that might come out of this. This is right around 6 o'clock on Thursday. Overall, this is your low-pressure system, closed low in the low-level jet. Here are the winds, though, overall. Again, a southwesterly flow that'll increase some of that rotation. And as we go into the late evening, into the overnight hours, Thursday night to Friday, it actually becomes pretty strong across parts of Arkansas and Louisiana. So that is something that we're going to have to watch for over the next few days. By no means, again, should you panic. I do think the risk of severe weather will still be on the low to medium side of things. That's at least what I'm thinking right now. By the way, here's the instability. This is a pretty key ingredient for severe weather. Overall, not a whole lot of instability right now in the forecast going into Thursday night. We don't need a whole lot for severe weather to happen, but it is one of those things that can make severe weather more impactful. And going into Thursday night, it's very minuscule across parts of North Texas. And then as we go into late Thursday night to Friday morning, there's a little bit across Arkansas, maybe Louisiana, but again, not really much right now, at least in the forecast. Now, again, things could change between now and then, totally, so keep that in mind. Again, things will probably at least change a little bit as we get closer. Here's the future radar across the southern plains. So by the morning hours, I do think there's going to be a good amount of rainfall out there, so this could hinder the amount of severe weather that we see due to sinking air. That's when we have a lot of rain falling. Sometimes we can get sinking air, and that can limit the severe weather potential. That might happen in this case as we go into Thursday, but regardless, we're at least going to see a lot of rainfall going into Thursday afternoon. Notice all the showers and storms stretching from the Gulf Coast back into the northeast parts of North Texas, and also some showers, even a little bit of snow behind this as we go into Thursday evening. This is around 6 o'clock or so, so again, a lot of thunderstorms out there. This would be the area to watch for initially for some showers and storms that could be severe, and then as we go into the late evening, so around 10 o'clock or so, storms are rolling across Arkansas and Louisiana, and as well southeast Texas, and then we might see a little bit of snow on the backside of this for western Oklahoma, maybe even parts of north central Texas, but it's not going to be anything very impactful. At least that's what I'm thinking at this point. It would be like flurries and maybe a little bit of light sleet. It wouldn't accumulate most likely. So right now, that's what we'll be looking at there. And then again, showers and storms rolling across the Gulf Coast. What we would have to watch for going into Friday is a low-end threat for severe weather along the Gulf Coast. So going into Friday morning and early afternoon, if you're in Louisiana, southern central Mississippi, or southern central Alabama, that might be an area to watch for maybe a little bit of isolated damaging winds and a tornado risk. Again, I'll have more details for you that are more specific as we get closer, so make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Here's what we're looking at for the broad overview of this storm. So again, this is Friday around about 6 a.m. or so, Eastern time, by the way. This would be the showers that would be ongoing across the Ohio Valley, possibly some severe weather along the Gulf Coast. Once we go throughout Friday into Saturday, that moves out to the east. And as we go throughout Sunday into Monday, things become pretty uncertain, but it looks to be pretty active in the southeast during that time frame. By the way, the lake effect snow, a lot of things to talk about here really quickly, though. Overall, the snow is going to continue for the next 12 to 24 hours across areas in western and northern Michigan, and as well as in northeast Ohio, which I'll touch on here in a second. It will diminish by tomorrow evening. We might get a little bit more snow, though, starting to kick back in as we go into the overnight hours Tuesday into Wednesday, so a little bit of additional accumulation is possible. Here are your snow accumulations that are being forecasted between now and going into tomorrow, and as well as through Wednesday. Overall, the main area to watch for would be in western and northern Michigan. Again, some areas will pick up an additional 4 to 8 inches. Some areas might only pick up a coating. It's going to really vary on where you are. Back over to the northeast, different story. A lot more snowfall, especially near the Watertown area in New York. As we go into Tuesday afternoon, this lake effect snow drifts further down to the south. By Wednesday, it's not done yet. We're going to still see some snow out there, but it'll be a lot lighter as we go into Wednesday. In terms of additional accumulation, some spots will pick as much as 1 to 2 feet of snow between now and Wednesday across parts of western New York. Just south of Buffalo, a lot of snow. Meanwhile, Buffalo, New York might see a coating to an inch. It's not going to be much there, but if you drive down to the south, maybe a 40 to 50 miles, completely different story. It'll look like a winter wonderland down that direction. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like the button down below and subscribe if you've not already.